Okay, continuing on part 2 on the 16th of December 2016. So, as I said, it's not my fault that you know, certain officials can't tell a whole bunch of people the facts of life. It's not my lookout. What do you want me to do? Get upset about you getting upset about a situation you're not allowed to be involved in or don't know the full facts about. I'd be wasting my own energy, wouldn't I? So I can't be clearer, in regards to the process about me being voyeuristically filmed. There's nothing in the public interest. There never was anything in the public interest, and there never will be. If central government and the police want to give people the runaround, want to get them believing in all kinds of nonsensical, ridiculous, things that are going to harm people in the long run, legally, I can't do anything about that. I can only offer these kind moments in time to politely say, you don't have any permission to film me in my home, in my car, or anywhere else. You never did, and so forward. There's nothing in the public interest. So if there's nothing in the public interest, it's voyeurism. And as I've said before, in terms of evidence still withstanding or not becoming available anymore, that's not my lookout. I mean, you can't act on evidence that doesn't become available anymore when you already know, when you've found out the truth about it. So when you found out the truth about it, but that evidence doesn't become available, like any other process, you become stuck in the mud. You literally become yourself in a situation where until it happens, there's nothing we can do. And that's true. But why would you want to do anything about it when the investigations have already been concluded and the truth has been discovered? You can't rewrite the law and sit around and say, because evidence is not available anymore, and we've already found out the truth, and there's nothing in the public interest, but yet because that evidence doesn't become available, you somehow want to rewrite the law and say, and make something true when you know something's not true. Just because that evidence is not available anymore, it doesn't make something true. And do you think you are God or something? So the ridiculousness of police investigations has got nothing to do with me. But I'm just reminding you very keenly on the situation as it is. I've already said strenuously in the past, from many different levels and in many different ways, in regards to what is happening with me. If you choose not to believe that or think that's a mental health issue, I'm not bothered about that. Again, why would I be concerned about myself, about what other processes and tangled webs people find themselves because of central government and the police? Again, it's got nothing to do with me. But don't rob yourself of the truth in regards to believing that you have some kind of permission to film in my home. You don't, and I'm telling you to stop filming into my home. Voyeuristically listening in audio and visually watching, and in all my private spaces wherever I go. You don't have permission, and you never will have permission unless I give express written and verbal permission. The two of the like will be given instantaneously, or should I say simultaneously. One will never come without the other. So you need to be understand that, and as I've said also before as well, is that there could be, and when I say this, there could be a partial extreme situation that I may that I may, in the end, choose to not take any further action if it's members of Parliament or the police. That's not central government, that's members of Parliament or the police. Central government do not come into that bracket. I'm not including them in the bracket, and that's my human right not to include them. As I've said, the ball's in my park when there's no crimes, obviously there never was and there never will be, and there's nothing in the public interest. I'm not sure how you understand how law works. You can't keep suspecting somebody because the evidence doesn't become available when the correct channels and it's gone through the correct authorities and something's already proven, but that evidence doesn't become available anymore. You can't just make something true all of a sudden and carry on doing what you're doing when the evidence has already been proved. Once it's been proved, which it has, you can't turn around and say, just because the evidence doesn't become available anymore, that gives you the right to carry on filming. What that does is put you in a situation of isolation. That puts you in a situation of you're stuck in the mud, you're stuck between two places. But it doesn't mean that you can carry on filming, audio and visual wise, does it? No. No, it doesn't. And if the Crown Prosecution Service are doing that when they know the correct procedure, and they shouldn't be doing that when they've already seen certain evidence, and then they're acting illegally, aren't they? If that is the case, that is. It's like for the likes of musicians and stuff who've already been questioned about stalking, who've already been, you know what I mean? That process is already underway. You can't unwrite that. You can't stop that when you know what the intelligence is. If the correct authorities can't grapple and maintain and hold on to evidence that they happen to come across, that's not my lookout. I've done my ultimate best to try and help the situation on many different levels, but you can't keep reinvestigating something that's already been investigated and concluded. So it's not a case of the fresh evidence becomes available. All evidence that there is so far that I have logged, and I've been logging for some time, explains the entire thing in very exact detail. If that evidence does not become available, doesn't mean you can carry on doing what you're doing. It doesn't. It's criminal what's happening. It's illegal. Well, it is. It is. As I've said before, though, you know what I mean. The cut-off point for people to stop doing what they're doing, I don't decide. But what can happen while they're doing what they're doing is you can take intelligence from what I'm saying, and from what's happening, but you can't act on it. In other words, you can't use that evidence, but you can use it as an intelligent scoping exercise to ask certain things, which you can. And until the situation is concluded about me voyeuristically being filmed, you can do that. You can. So, which is why I say today, I mean, I've said it before, but I will say it again kindly for the log and for the people that are watching and listening. You don't have any permission to film me at any stage. You never will unless you get my express written and verbal permission, which will be simultaneously given to you at a chosen time by myself, if I deem it important enough. If I deem it important enough. Because all I do know at this stage is that's caused incredible psychological harm. I've lost out on many different levels of lust, and so much you would not believe. Well, I think you would believe, you just don't care. I've already made it extremely clear, I've never worked for the police, FBI, CIA, or any of these ridiculous any of these ridiculous agencies. I've never had any connection with them whatsoever. So I think that's important, and I've never worked for the civil service or the army or any of these things. So I think that's important, yet again, for me to stress that. So you heard my pleas of stop filming me. And if you don't stop filming me, you will be prosecuted for voyeurism when the time comes. You will be prosecuted. Like I say, there may be a couple of exceptions aside. But from others who who are doing it, if you don't stop doing it, you're going to be prosecuted, and you'll be brought to the full limit of the law. That's a promise from myself. So I suggest members of Parliament act on that information. I sincerely do, which could change a whole lot of things. Waterfall.